Source. There we go. Welcome back into the Sports Source. Joined right over here by Mark Pankratz, former UT staff member, former college basketball player. Good to have you back. Haven't seen you since all of the wild stuff with Rick Barnes, UCLA, the pay raise, guys going to the NBA, guys transferring out, transfers in, et cetera, et cetera. First thing I want to ask you, as a former assistant coach, that is a sport that is not built on stability. So is the year-to-year challenges part of the fun? I mean, do some of these coaches get into this and enjoy the, all right, we're going to have to start from scratch this year, that kind of stuff?
Well, I think I have a little bit of a biased opinion. It's probably one of the reasons why I'm sitting here. I didn't enjoy as much of some of that. I think there are coaches that love the recruiting piece of it. They love having to go put the puzzle pieces together and how do you get it all to fit and who's coming on your roster. I do think most of these coaches, although I do see it as a big challenge, I think they love trying to get 13, 14, 15 different people from different places, different backgrounds, all with big aspirations to buy into a system. And that's the part of coaching that you have to love. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the profession. And so I think most coaches enjoy it to a degree, but not all aspects.
Well, let me ask you this. I've put together a list. Let's see if we can get this up here. There we go. A list of potential challenges. All right, this is just my list. Replacing Rob Lanier, who became head coach at Georgia State, been with him a decade as his lead assistant. Replacing the talent of Schofield, Williams, Alexander, Bone. That's a lot of starters gone. Replacing chemistry, leadership, and even work ethic, which was so great last year. Conference schedule. You got Kentucky, Vandy, South Carolina, Auburn, and Bruce Pearl, and Arkansas twice each. Non-conference schedule, you're in a tournament with Purdue, Florida State, and VCU. Then you got Memphis, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, Washington, and a Big 12 team. That's a tough non-conference schedule. Or fan expectations after all the UCLA high salary stuff. Of those, what is the biggest single challenge facing Rick Barnes next year?
Well, I think you can put them all in their different buckets. I think from a coaching perspective, the biggest challenge for them is that chemistry, is that work ethic as you talk about, is that leadership of who is that going to be. That's something that as a coach you can try to control. The next piece for me would be the talent. I think Kim English is a really good assistant that they brought in. Won't replace Lanier, but I think that's a good solution. But the talent gap, you talked about the conference. As a coach, you don't get caught up in what the other opponents have or don't have, what the schedule is. You actually use that part in recruiting of, hey, look who we're playing. But I think the biggest thing is how do you replace the leadership of Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield? Not to mention they're also vying for draft position here in a week or so.
Well, I'm happy you went with that because, as you can see, that's the one I highlighted. I agree with you. I think you had a team that was unselfish, worked its tail off. They talked about how much they coached one another. That is going to be hard to replicate because you don't have a lot of carryover with guys and you're bringing in so many new faces, including a 5-star, 4-star. Are they going to have that same mentality? I think that's big. Of the things I showed you, fan expectations, non-conference schedule, SEC schedule, we talked about the other three. Let's leave it at that. SEC schedule, non-conference schedule, fan expectations. What do you worry least about if you're a coach in that?
If I'm Barnes?
Yeah, if you're Barnes.
Fan expectations. I mean,
because you're secure with $4.5 million.
Well, yeah, but also he's a Hall of Fame coach at this point, and he don't really give a rip about what people are going to say, whether it's on this show or anywhere else. He just doesn't care. And so, but I think when you do look at what the conference, those are things that he'll actually keep his eye, at least one eye on. But the fan expectations, he ain't worried about that.
Very good. I'll tell you what, when we come back, I'm going to send Mark over to the whiteboard right now. He'll show you what his opening night starting lineup will be and his sixth man, and then we'll talk about what we actually know about the 2019-2020 Vols when we come back on the Sports Source. Come on back.